Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Good morning, one and all. Welcome to this online session of Tadvidya Sambhasha Parishad. I am Dr. Usha Rani, and today I would like to speak on the physiological aspect of Agni. Friends, as you all know, Agni is a very important component. Okay, in our Swastha definition, Samadosha, Samagnisha, Samadhatu Malakriyah, Prasanna Atmendriya Manaha, Swastya Itya Vidyate. Okay, so after knowing the concept of the regulating factors, that is the doshas, Agni, which is maintaining these doshas, is the topic to be dealt today. Agni is very, very important. All the preventive, curative measures, whatever are adopted in Ayurveda, is to control and to preserve the functions of Agni. Further, this Agni is of three types. The universal Agni Tattva is of three types. Okay, in your Padartha Vijnana you must have seen. The Agni is at Bhauma level, it is at the form of, in the form of Sharira level and at the Indriya level. In Bhauma level, this is present as the highly reactive elements, okay, metals present in the earth. The Agni in Sharira is in the form of Kayagni. Agni in the Indriya is in the Rupa format, that is responsible for your formation of vision. Okay, so today we are going to see about the Kayagni. Kayagni is the Agni which is present in the body and responsible for various metabolic activity in the body. Okay, the objective of this class will be, every person attending this session will know the etymology, that is the derivation of Agni, then the historical aspect and the synonyms, then the sthana of Agni, classification of Agni, functions of Agni, clinical importance of Agni, then how Agni Pariksha is done at our clinics. Okay, so and then we summarize all these topics. So coming to the etymology and definition. Okay, Agni. Okay, A means to go, Gna means to carry. Okay, the Agni is which can carry any element to any site of the body. This invariable agent is responsible for the Paka process, that is digestion in our body. Now when we speak about Paka, Paka is of two types. One is digestion, another is transformation. Okay, when we speak about digestion, digestion is also at sthula level and sukshma level. The ahara what we take inside, on which the Agni acts, okay, Sarakitta Vibhajana takes place. Whatever is important is absorbed and whatever is not required is eliminated out. So this is the sthula type of digestion, and sukshma type of digestion occurs at the cellular level. When we speak about transformation, the transformation is again of two types. Okay, in Vaisheshika Darshana we see there is Pilu Paka and there is Pitara Paka. Okay, what is Pilu Paka? The Pilu Paka is the transformation which is occurring at the level of cell or at a micro level. And what is Pitara Paka? The transformation what we are seeing at a level of higher, that is a macro level. Okay, our acharyas have given example of a mango. Yes, a mango flower, okay, the inflorescence gets fertilized. This flower undergoes various small chemical reactions and a fruit is formed. So all these small minute chemical reactions can be taken as Pilupaka, and the macro change from a small flower to a big mango is formed, which is so delicious, which is so good looking. Okay, this sort of macro transformation what is seen is called as Peter Parker. So for all this Parker process, the main thing what is responsible is. Then coming to the Nirukti of Agni, Agni Gato, that means which moves upwards, is called as Agni, and it is responsible for of the doshas and its functioning. Okay. Then coming to the synonyms, there are 61 synonyms explained in Shabda Kalpadruma to define the functions of, okay, like Vaishvanara, Vagni, Jwalana, Dhananjaya, and many more. There is lot of clinical importance of this Agni, but along with that, there is lot of spiritual importance, like a lot of philosophical importance is also there behind the Agni. So when we see the historical aspect of Agni, we get lot of references in Rig Veda, okay, especially again in Yajurveda, where Agni and Agni is taken in Homa, okay, for various spiritual process. And Agni is said to be representation of God itself, okay. And many times Rudra, Vishnu are the synonyms used for the Agni. Then Agni is symbol of life according to Brahma Sutras, okay. And in Bhagavad Gita, we get a direct reference saying, Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashritaha Prana Apanam Samyuktam Pachami Anna Chaturvidam. That in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, I am responsible for the pachana of anna and maintaining the functions of prana as well as apana, and I give the name here to this functions as Vaishvanara. Okay, this Agni which is present in the human body, responsible for the maintenance of both the poles, that is prana and apana, by its normal functioning, and responsible for the pachana of Chaturvida Ahara, okay, is Vaishwanara Agni as told by Bhagavad Gita. Then coming to the sthana of Agni, yes, when we speak about the sthana, it is said it is present at the level of grahani. Okay, it is Agni Adhishthanam Annasya Grahanat Grahani Mata. Okay, and this grahani is present between the Pakvashaya and Amashaya region. Okay, when we see the anatomical site, it is the organ which is present just behind the umbilicus. So this site which is present around the umbilicus is said to be the sthana of Agni. Okay, when we see the anatomical importance of this site, we come to know this area is nothing but the second part of the duodenum, where the ducts of the liver and the pancreas come and join to form the duct of water, and all the enzymes and the bile juice produced by these organs are coming into the second part of the duodenum for their metabolic functions. Okay, so this is very, very important. And along with this, there are juices of small intestine like duodenal juices also, which act on the food for the digestion. Okay, so this is the sthana of Agni. Then coming to the types of Agni. Okay, now this becomes an MCQ type of question. Okay, because Charaka explains 13 types of Agni along with Ashtanga Hriday, whereas Sushruta says 5 types. Okay, he says the 5 types of Pitta itself are the 5 types of Agni. Yes, but Charaka says there are unique functions of these 13 types of Agni. The 13 types are, first is the Chaturagni, then comes the 5 Bhutagnis, and then the 7 Dhatuvagni. Okay, so these act in their particular order. Coming to the first one, that is the Chaturagni, which is also called as Kayagni. Okay, it is defined as Panchabhutatmakatve api yattejuso gunodayat Pakadi karmanam anala shabdatam. That means this Agni is made up of all the Pancha Mahabhutas, but it is dominated in the Teja Mahabhuta. Okay, and this is responsible for the paka adi karmana. All the paka, whatever food you take, the paka pachana of all this chaturvida ahara is done by this Jatragni. Okay. Further, when we see the functions, it is said tacha adushtakena chaturvidam annapanam pachati विवेचयति च दोष रस मूत्र पुरुषाणां तत्रस्थमेव च आत्मशक्त्यां शेषाणां पित्तस्थानानां शरीरस्य च अग्निकर्मणाम् अनुग्रहति. That means this Jataragni not only digests the Chaturvida Annapanam but also is responsible for the proper formation of doshas, proper formation of rasa, proper formation of the mala and mutra. Very, very important point. Okay. This further nourishes all the other pitta sthanas and all the other agnis functioning in the body. So the maintenance of Jatragni becomes very, very important. Okay. Further, again Sushruta says, prana apano samanastu sarvataha pavane stribihi dmayati palyeti chapi swe swe sthanam vyavastitaha. That means this Jatragni, which is present in the Grahani region, is controlling the prana apana functions. Okay, the prana vata functions. Okay, the apana vata functions, and further the samana vata functions are under the control of this Jatragni. If Jatragni is functioning very well, then all these vatas are maintained at their poles. If Jatragni gets manda, then these vata get haphazard, which leads to various diseases. Then coming to the pathophysiology of this Kayagni. What happens when there is vitiated doshas acting on this Agni? Okay, when there is vata predominancy seen, okay, there is ruksha ahara or ruksha vihara, especially vatakara viharas, ati chalana, okay, ati vyayama is done. The vata which has increased inside the body leads to a condition called as Vishama Agni. Okay, so this Vishama Agni, what will this do? This is responsible for irregularity of digestion. First of all, the appetite also is irregular, and there is the digestion process also very irregular, what is seen usually in Vishamagni. Now, Vishamagni is a condition seen in Vata predominant conditions. Wherever the Vata is vitiated, there is Vishamagni seen in the human body. Okay, then coming to Tikshna Agni. Tikshna Agni is the Agni which is seen usually when there is Agni vitiation, especially Pitta. Pitta is getting vriddhi in Pitta Prakriti people, and this leads to Tikshna Agni. This is very important. Tikshna Agni is a condition where Pitta Vriddhi or Ati Tikshna Ushna gunas of Ahara or Vihara are affecting in Pitta Prakriti people, and it leads to Tikshna Agni sort of conditions. So what is Tikshna Agni? Here, whatever food is taken is burnt very fast. It is getting digested very fast. Okay, and these leads to Pitta Kara Rogas. For example, it is said in Bhasmaka Roga, the food taken inside immediately converts itself into ash-like substance, and there are very poor nutrition to the body, and the person again feels hungry. Okay, repeated hunger episodes with lack of nutrition to the body. This sort of condition is seen in Bhasmaka type of Roga. Then coming to Manda Agni. Manda Agni is a condition usually seen in Kapha predominancy. Wherever there is Kapha Vriddhi, the Agni gets Manda. Okay, and what is the food duration? The person doesn't feel hungry. Even with small amount of food, the person takes lot of time for the digestion of these food. Okay, and whatever the digestion takes place, This digestion is so slow, and there is usually complaints of Shirashula, Anga Gaurava, Kasta Shwasa. So such disease are always followed with the Mandagni. Okay. But there is one more concept in Prakriti. In Prakriti, we have seen in Vata Prakriti people, Vishabhagni becomes the physiological status. In Pitta Prakriti people, Tikshnagni is the physiological status. And in Kapha Prakriti people, Kapha, this Mandagni itself is the physiological status. Okay. Okay. So apart from this, there is one more type of status, that is Sama Agni. Sama Agni is a condition where all the doshas are in Prakrita Avastha. Okay. So it is neither irregular, neither very fast in its action. Okay, it takes its normal time. For example, if 6 hours of time is a normal duration for the food to get digested and metabolized, and then the toxins for to move further and getting eliminated, then 6 hours is the regular time maintenance in case of Samagni. But Samagni can also get vitiated because of the dosha variances. Okay, so this is a very important concept in Kayagni. Then coming to the next concept of Bhutagni. After the Ahara is acted by the Chatragni, there is Prasada Bhaga and Kitta Bhaga formation. The Prasada Bhaga is the Ahara Rasa. The Kitta Bhaga is the Malamudra. Okay. The Ahara Rasa, whichever is formed, which is rich in the nutrients, your elements, ions, carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, it's very rich in all these molecules. This should be further assimilated in the body. So in Charaka Samhita this says it is sthana vishishta. Bhutagnis are present in their sthana, which is forming vishishta guna. The ahara rasa is getting converted with vishishta guna such that it can nourish the dhatus at a further level. That means whatever substances are been absorbed are been acted by these 5 Bhutagnis. That is Prithvi Bhutagni acts on the Prithvi molecules, Apa Bhutagni acts on the Apa molecules, Teja Bhutagni acts on the Teja molecules, then Vayu Bhutagni acts on the Vayu molecules, and so on. So these break down the complex molecules into simpler molecules such that it can be further acted by the Dhatuvagni. So this is the importance of a Bhutagni, which is having mainly 2 functions: breaking the complex molecules to simpler molecules for further action of the Dhatuvagni, and making these molecules assimilated into the body tissues, making them a human type for further assimilation is the main function of Bhutagni. Then coming to Dhatuvagni, which is again very important. These Dhatuvagnis are present in the Moolasthana of the Dhatus. Yes, and these Dhatuvagni are 7 in number. Okay, Ashtanga further defines it as Swasthanasya Kayagniremsha Dhatushu Samsritaha Tesham Sadadati Tebhyo Dhatu Vriddhi Shayodbhavaha. That means the Dhatuvagnis are present at their own sites, their mool sthana of the Dhatus, but they are nourished by the Jataragni. Okay, and this Dhatuvagnis are responsible for Vriddhi and Shaya of their respective Dhatus. Okay, then coming to functions of Agni. In functions of Agni, Sushruta says the 5 types of Pitta itself are the 5 types of Agni in the human body. Okay, from the surgical point of view, he speaks about this topic. Then he says the Ranjaka Pitta is responsible for the Rasa Ranjanat, that is coloration of the blood. Then Pakti, the Pachaka Pitta, is responsible for the digestion of food. Alochaka Pitta is responsible for the Darshana, that is the image formation at your retina. Then there is Sadhaka Pitta, which is responsible for your Buddhi and Medha. And Bhrajaka Pitta is responsible for your Ushma and the skin complexion. Apart from this, Charaka further explains in detail about the functions of Agni. He says, Ayur Varna Balam Swastya Utsaha Upachayo Prabha ओजोस्तेजो अग्नयः प्राणश्चोक्ता देह अग्निहेतुकः शान्तो अग्न्यो म्रियते युक्ते चिरञ्जीवये तनामयः. This is the ultimate shloka which is very beautifully explained, saying that Agni is responsible for first Ayu. If Agni is there, your Ayu is there. If Agni is not there, that means you are not alive. Okay, so first, for the maintenance of normal Ayu, Agni is very, very important. Further comes your complexion. Okay, complexion is depending upon the Agni functions. If your Jatra Agni is good, you are enthusiastic, you are very active, and automatically your complexion is very nice. Okay, you are radiating from far off distance. Then Balam, strength. Okay, if your Jatra Agni is functioning properly, the nutrition is formed at the Ahara Rasa at a normal quantity, and this further nourishes your Dhatus and Ojas, and hence you have good immunity, good strength to do work, and good mental power also. Then swasthya is overall health and enthusiasm. Utsaha, as I told you, enthusiasm. Upachaya. Upachaya is the anabolism of the body. Okay, that also depends upon the functions of Jatragni. Prabha is luster. Oja, as I told you, the immunity of the body depends upon the Agni. Then all the other Agnis in the body are also maintained by this Jataragni. The prana, apana, all these functions of Vata are controlled further by the Agni. And it is said that Shanto Agnyo Mriyate. If Agni is stopped in its function, that means the person is not alive. So this is very, very important point. Then we usually have a confusion between the concept of Agni and Pitta, because Sushruta says Agni itself is Pitta. Okay, but further, when we have some controversies, like whenever there is consumption of grata, it is Pitta Hara, whereas Agni Vriddhikara. Okay, and whenever the other concept of Jwara comes, in Jwara there is Mandagni seen, but on the other hand, Shakagata Pitta Vriddhi takes place. Okay, so when such concepts are seen, we come to know that Agni is a different identity, and the Pitta is a little bit of different substance, and Agni is taking Ashraya in this Pitta for exhibition of its functions. This is further clarified in the commentary. To give you a good example, I can speak about acids. Okay, the acids look liquid in their nature, but the main function, when you see the functions of an acid, the acid can burn, and they are very, very corrosive in nature, and they can burn off any substance. This is because of the Agri Tattva present in that Drava based molecule. Drava based molecules of acids. Okay, in the same way, the Pitta, though it is Drava, though it is Sasneha, though it is Sara, Agni has taken its Ashraya, because of which it is Tejo Guna Pradhana, and it is Sasneha. It is not totally Ruksha, not totally Sneha. It is slightly Sneha in its nature. So this is because Agni is seated in the Pitta. So that is what is the difference between the Agni and Pitta. Then coming to the clinical importance of Agni. When we see the clinical importance of Agni, in the definition of Swasthya itself, it's clearly explained. Samadosha Sama Agni Samadhatu Malakriyaha. So if doshas are formed in a proper and are in equilibrium, and if Agni is in a normal status, then further there is proper formation of dhatus, mala in the body, which can maintain the physical health. This further nourishes the prasanna atma indriya manaha for maintenance of your mental health. So it's very, very important your Agni should be in normal condition. Okay, then Agnireva Sharire Pittantaragataha Shubha Ashubhani Karoti. Charaka further says that Agni is present in the body in the form of Pitta. seated in the pitta, and all the shubha and ashubha functions of pitta are responsible for the further functionings of the body. For example, if pitta is functioning normally, that is at a shubha level, then you have normal digestion, normal enthusiasm, normal image formation, okay, and normal temperature of your body is maintained. But on the same type, if a pitta is functioning abnormally, your digestion is hampered, your enthusiasm is hampered, your malamutra formation is hampered, okay, almost all the processes get blocked in your body, okay. Then agni dushti karanas, okay, why your agni gets dushta, or why vitiation takes place in your agni, and how you can prevent it. This is very important. When you see the causes for the agni dushti, it is said abhojanat, ajirnat, अति भोजनात्, विषमाशनात्, असत्म्य गुरु शीत तीक्ष्ण दुष्ट भोजनात्. This means your agni is good in condition, it is in equilibrium, you are having a sama agni, but you are not taking food at a proper time, you are irregular in eating habits, first point. Or if you are eating too much excessively, ati bhojanat, okay. Or there is intake of food at irregular times, but you are not bothered whether the previous food is digested or not, like samashana, adhyashana. So these are the food taking habits which disturbs the functionings of agni, okay. It is always a rule, a thumb rule, saying that after the digestion of the previous food and after the malamutra visarjana, the next food should be consumed so that the system doesn't get overloaded. So if this rule is not followed, then usually there is vitiation of agni. Further, there are many more factors like asatmya. Okay, you are not comfortable with some of the food products and you are eating that in excessive, that leads to disturbance in agni. Ati guru ahara vihara, ati consumption of masha, that is black gram, or ati consumption of mamsa ahara vihara, which are heavy for digestion for this particular individual. Okay, everything is for purusha vishesha, okay. For particular individual, this particular food is very guru and you are having that repeatedly, then this leads to what mandagni or vitiation of agni. Then ati tikshna ahara vihara, ati ruksha, okay. Dushta bhojana is, you know, the food is spoiled, okay, or it is having a lot of preservatives and you are having the same food, so that leads to vitiation of agni. Refrigerated food, or the food which is baked a lot, the food which is processed with micro oven, and the food which is having a lot of colors and preservatives. So all these are responsible for the dushti of agni. Then the other factors are like vireka, vamana, ati yogat or ayogat. Whenever there is treatment given, you have to always focus on what type of agni the individual has. And if you give medicines without considering the agni, there can be ati vegas of virechana or vamana, which leads to disturbances in agni. And very important is snehapana also. Snehapana should be given after examination of agni, okay. And after samyak sneha lakshanas are formed, you have to stop snehapana, otherwise it goes to mandagni, which again can cause complications for the further process of shodhana. Then the other factors are like desha, rutu, kala, which are affecting the functionings of agni, okay. It is very clearly said in cold climate or winter, especially in hemanta rutu, okay, what happens, the agni is having a lot of bala, so it can the person feels very hungry. Whereas the same Grishma Ritu, the hunger is down and the Agni is functioning at a lower level. So accordingly, you should take the food. So that is in your Rutucharya, it is mentioned how according to Ritus, you have to consume your food for the prevention and preservation of Agni. Then, what happens if this Agni, Vishama, is not controlled or not taken care at a proper time? So, in people who are continuously following these habits of bhojana or all these nidhanas, along with some manasika nidhanas, like you are having food but with lots of anger, with lots of anxiety, you don't have, you're not cautious about what you are eating. Okay, so if this is the condition, repeated such conditions will lead to Mandagni, and Mandagni will lead to the production of Ama. Ama is a indigested molecules, okay, running in your Ahara Rasa, and these Ama are not getting assimilated in your body tissues, okay. This becomes a blockage in your body tissues, and wherever this goes and blocks, there will be accumulation of kleda and further accumulation of rogas. Okay, so ama is the main cause of disease. Okay, so what is ama? Ama means a substance which remains uncooked or unassimilated in the body tissues, and wherever this goes and blocks, it leads to the disorders at that particular site. Okay, we'll see the ama lakshanas and how further it goes and forms sama lakshanas in the session where I will be speaking on ama. Okay, now role of dushta agni in manifestation of vyadis. What happens? Rogaha sarve api mandagno. As I told you, because of mandagni, there is formation of ama, and whenever there is blockage in any circulation or any channels, there is the initiation of rogas. Okay, so in such condition, wherever there is blockage, there will be dosha prakopa, because of which there will be rogas in the body. Then coming to the other importance of Agni, Charaka Samhita speaks about the preventive methods like Dinacharya, Rutucharya, Na Vegandharayet. All these adhyayas are told how to take ahara is been explained, and how asatmya ahara should be avoided in the krama wise manner. All these things are explained keeping Agni in mind. Okay, whatever dinacharya you follow, right from getting up in Brahmi Muhurta and Danta Dhavana, Nasya, Karana Purna, Abhyanga, Snana, Gandushab Vidhi, all these are to maintain the normal functions of the Agni, so that your doshas and dhatus can be nourished well and maintained well. Okay, then coming to the treatment aspect. Okay, when we speak about treatment, first of all, Agni is directly related to Prakriti of the body. Okay, if it is the person is of a Vata Prakriti, then the Agni is Vishamagni. If the person is of Pitta Prakriti, the condition of Agni is usually the Tikshna Agni, and if the person is of Kapha Prakriti, the condition is usually Mandagni. So according to the Prakriti, you have to indulge yourself in Ahara Vihara. If you are of Pitta Prakriti, and if you are having digestion process very fast, that is within 6 hours you feel hungry, and you have to respect your body condition, and you have to take timely food. If you don't respect your Agni, and if you don't have the food at a proper time, then you will have the problems like ulcers, gastritis, and all such conditions, which leads to further disorders. If you are of Kapha Prakriti, your body is having Mandagni, then you should respect your Agni. You should take limited amount of food. No Guru Ahara, Shita Ahara should be avoided, and accordingly the Ahara which is Ushma, which is having Ushma Guna, should be consumed for the maintenance of this Agni. So maintenance and preservance of this Agni becomes very, very important in the concept of Prakriti and Agni. Then coming to the Vyayama, yes, you have to give importance to your Agni. If you are having Mandagni, you have to do a particular type of Vyayama, and if you are sweating, okay, you have to stop Vyayama, so that Ati Vyayama can lead to Vata Vriddhi and further vitiate your Agni also. So you have to respect your body functionings and then do Vyayama. Okay. Then coming to, as I explained about the Panchakarma procedures also, it may be right from Snehapana, then your Abhyanga, then your Shodhana procedures, whatever you think of, it should be in relation to the Agni present in the particular patient. Then dose of medicines, yes. So dosage of medicines and selection of medicines is very, very important. In case of a Tikshnagni, okay, you select very Tikshna Aushadhis and the dose also is very higher, then it can bring bad reputation to the system itself. Okay, in Pitta Prakriti, you select very Tikshna Ushna drugs like Chitraka or Vatsanaba, which are very Tikshna Ushna, then the person will surely come the next day with nausea, vomiting, and gastritis, which can be a very serious situation also. And you should be very, very careful that Pitta Prakriti people having Tikshna Agni can be very allergic to some conditions also, and they can be with sudden some anaphylactic reactions also can come into these people. So you should be very careful in deciding what should be the drug, what should be the dosage of the drug before prescribing any medicines. You have to see what is the Agni present in that particular individual. Then to plan even the treatment, whether you can go ahead with Shamana line of treatment or whether you have to go ahead with Shodhana line of treatment also, you have to think about Agni. If Agni is Manda and there is lot of Ama, it is very important that Ama, Hara Dravyas and Pachaka Dravyas are given so that the Ama is relieved, and later you plan of a Shodhana so that the proper Agni is maintained and you will get good results after Shodhana. And even after Shodhana, you cannot forget the concept of Sansarjana Karma, where again Agni is made Balavan in a sequential order. So that is one more very important and very beautiful concept explained in our Samhitas, where after Shodhana, Acharya says that Agni will have less power. Okay, so because of which this Agni is nourished with all Laghu Ahara Viharas, and later in a Krama the Guru Ahara Viharas are given, and as it is maintained then Rasayanas are given, so that the Agni is functioning very normally. Okay, and then there is very good relation between Koshta and Agni also. Okay, so Koshta, Agni and Prakriti go hand in hand. Wherever there is Vata Prakriti, there is usually Krura Koshta and Vishamagni. Okay, and wherever there is Pitta Prakriti, there is a Tikshna Agni and there is a Mrudu Koshta. And wherever there is Kapha Prakriti, there is Mandagni and there is Madhyama Koshta. So these three things go hand in hand, which should be thought properly. Now, when we think about the pathophysiology of diseases, yes, to plan the treatment of any disease, you should know what is the dosha affected, which dhatu is affected here, how is the samprapti taking place, and which Agni is to be targeted for the treatment. So to know the protocol of treatment also, you should know the concept of Jataragni, Bhutagnis, and then the concept of Dhatu-Agni is very, very important. Yes. Then at a practical level, we speak about Agni Pariksha. Yes, what is Agni Pariksha? Agni Pariksha is a concept where the individual testing of Agni is done. Yes, how do you do that? Normally, it is 6 hours is required for the digestion of food. Okay, so if we consider Sama Agni is requiring 6 hours of time for the digestion of food, then if a person requires less than 6 hours or 4 to 5 hours for the digestion, and if he is getting hungry very frequently within 4 to 5 hours, that means he is of a Tikshna Agni, that is of Pitta type of Agni, where the Agni is very Tikshna. If the same person requires more than 6 hours, 7 hours or 8 hours for the digestion of same amount of food, that means the person is of a Kapha Prakriti. Okay, this is on regular basis. On regular basis, you have the habit of 4 to 5 hours of digestion, then it is Tikshnagni, more than 6 hours of digestion, then it is of Kaphaja, that is Mandagni. And on regular basis it is highly irregularly irregular. For example, sometimes it's normal, sometimes it's 6 hours, sometimes it's 4 hours, sometimes it's more than 8 hours, sometimes the person is not hungry at all. So this is the characteristic of the Vishamagni, that is Vataja Agni. So depending upon your Agni, you should plan your nutrition. Okay, with this concept of Agni, I end my today's session. Thank you.